My name is Rosie Herrera, and I'm a choreographer and a director. I've been performing my whole life, and I have a pretty eclectic performance background. I was commissioned in 2009 to create a piece by the Miami Light Project entitled Various Stages of Drowning, a cabaret. And I was lucky enough that Charles Reinhardt was in the audience in that performance, and he took me to the American Dance Festival, and after that it was just a snowball of events and activities, and I've been full-time choreographing and directing since then. I went to college. I knew I loved theater, but I hated talking on stage. Every time I talked on stage, it just didn't feel right. And so I went to the University of Florida where I studied miming. And from miming, I found dance. I didn't figure that out before. Oh, I want to express myself with my body. Oh, I'm a dancer. I actually started studying classical music because when I was in theater, I had an abnormally high speaking voice, as I still do. I went to a vocal instructor and I was like, I am sick and tired of being typecasted as a child or a hooker or people with like character voices. I was like, I want to have a regular, normal voice. And so I started doing vocal training, and that led me to opera, and I fell in love. And so when I was in school for dance, I was this hip hop, dancing, opera, singing, cabaret, modern dancer who loved drag queens. I never felt really completely fed with just one form. I felt like there was so much to learn when exploring other forms that in 2009, when I was commissioned to do a piece, I pulled the break dancer from the hip-hop background, the drag queen from the cabaret, the ballerina from school, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is why I had to do so many different things, because now my company consists of performers of all different genres, from performance art and theater and actors and dancers and opera singers and drag queens and b-boys. It's kind of runs the whole gamut of performance. And so I knew it made sense, but it took me getting commissioned for it to all make sense to me. It's kind of like saying, how does being Latin affect your work? I'm Latin. I don't know how it would affect my work because I've always been Latin. But the thing about, when I graduated from New World, I said very clearly I want to be in Miami. There's something about the light here, there's something about the bodies here that really inspire me in a way that no other place does. I think every aspect of where you live affects your work, whether you realize it or not, from the architecture to the weather to the nightlife. And I think that is present in my work very clearly. For example, it's really important to me that the hip-hop element is represented in my work because I feel like Miami has had a long tradition of really being innovators in breakdancing. There's a sexiness in Miami that is more tangible. There's an openness in the body because it's warm. It's warm here, so people wear less clothing. People are more touchy-feely. People kiss on the cheek even if they don't know each other. It's very different. For example, in Various Stages of Drowning, it was a series of dreams that I had over a 3-year period. And usually when I create a piece or I have a subject matter, I take that into the studio and I start to dissect it and rearrange and abstract it to see it from 1,000 different angles, and that's how I create material. But with Various Stages of Drowning, I had almost like every scene completely choreographed in my head, and then I met the dancers and I just put it on them. And so it was very different, where in the past the movement kind of came out of the theme. This was the first time that the image was created first and then the movement came to serve that image. It's kind of backwards, I think, for dancers. I probably go through 200 to 300 balloons a performance. I think half of my budget is helium. Helium and pastries. Pastries keep finding their way into my work. And I had to really sit down and say, wow, this piece has 10 birthday cakes and this one has 3 pies. And what's next? What else am I going to do? And then I thought about it and I was like, well, my dad was a pastry chef. Of course those things find their way, into my work. The smell of, baking bread reminds me of my father. What if my father was, a cowboy? There'd be, 50 horses on stage. There is so much amazing talent here. People need to see this. And so I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be able to finally do that. So I guess it's just a really exciting and great time for me that I'm learning, as per my New Year's resolution, to really enjoy.